Hi, it's Janie back here at the League-Kempner House in Galveston. If you're new, we're a nonprofit set up to restore and preserve this incredible house. In the last few weeks, we've had a lot of videos about our roofing issues, and today we are going to get back on it and get outside and take a look at what's going on. All right, day 8 or 9, I don't even know anymore, but the guys are up on that little section working. The boom is working again. I hope I don't get stuck up here, but I am setting my sights on two kind of inconsequential areas. But right here, the fascia going across the lower back and that fascia going across the top. And I can already see that I need to go down and get some stainless nails. The bottoms are falling off these decorative rafter covers. But this was not on my critical list, but it's easy because of all the rain. This thing is super heavy and you can get in trouble moving through the yard and the grass. And if you think it's hard getting a car that's spun its tires out of something, you should see what's involved in getting this thing moving again. So my plan today is to just use it right here on this gravel driveway. If I'm very careful moving it, I can move it forward, get this area done, and actually the little side of this porch, and maybe with the boom extension get up there and do that, and then maybe that. So not the most critical thing, but something I can take advantage of the boom and get done. So this is not a great paint job. It's a good enough paint job because the whole house will have to be done at some point, but I'm trying to get primer on all the bare wood. Well, get it scraped first, get all the loose stuff off, get primer on the bare wood, spray on some rust primer on these nail heads, and at least get a coat of our new house paint on the fascia. So that's my mission. Okay, I'm up on that second level. I want to show you a couple things while I'm up here. First, this is that new roof that was done 3 years ago now when we first got the house. And somebody did a pad painting job before and splattered paint all over the house. But these are those, change hands and not drop my phone. These are those rafter covers, and you can see it's just made of individual pieces of wood, but it's come apart. So I need to come up here and do some work on that, but I'm going to work, I think, on the fascia first and getting that done, and then if I have time, come back and do that. I also have some old cabling up here that needs to come down, and I'm not going to be able to maneuver, I think, to get over there unless I move the base of this thing. So I'm going to confine myself to all the work I can do right now, and then I'll move it, swing it the other way, and do the other side. So I'm going to do just basically from the middle to this right edge first, top and bottom, and then go down, move it, come back and do the other side. It's actually super hot today, but that storm that blew through took all the humidity out, so it doesn't feel as bad, and it's very still. You can see there's no wind, so this thing isn't swaying, so I don't have that nausea and motion sickness today. So hopefully, as long as they don't have to use this much today, I can get a lot done, because it's a fabulous day. So the guys have gone to Home Depot. They need a 2x6 for something up there, so I have to get down, and actually the timing's pretty good. I could use a little break, and then they are going to actually use the boom when they come back to put the material up on the roof. That'll be a chance to reposition it in a better place for me to get to this area and this area over here. So I'm going to go sit inside and take a little break. This is going to be a weird video of things happening and nobody in it, but it took me a while, but I got that thing inside the window because it's about 2 inches taller, so it took some maneuvering at a weird angle, and it's heavy. We'll see how my back feels. Now I have to figure out how to get in the window. Okay, they went and got some plywood to put on the slope to brace themselves as they work because of the angle. So he's not real comfortable with the lift in this spot, so I'm going to try to take him up there to him so they can unload up there. Okay, I've officially joined the roofing crew. I'm heading up to take them their materials. I'm not really very fond of heights, and I am up pretty high, certainly not to the extent of this boom. When the technician was here, he stood it completely upright. It was insane, but it does give you a chance to have kind of a look at the roof. There's one of our finials that's completely intact. And on the left side, that roof's already been done. Previously, this is roof they have to do. This is where they started yesterday and got interrupted by the rain. So they still have to finish stripping it, do a little patching. And the goal today was to get the metal gable vents down so they could go to the metal shop to be worked on. I don't know if they're going to get to that. But you can see it's kind of a tricky area. It's got a valley right there, a valley behind the cupola, and these tie rods that help support the chimney in the wind. And we have another finial over there that's completely intact also. So that gives us 2 intact. And then our little end cap here, but I need to go back and look at old photos and see if they were on all of the roof. But while I'm here, I'm going to lower myself down a little bit and work along the fascia here on the addition because I'm already here, so I might as well do it. Okay, since it's hard to show my work, I'll show my little toolkit. So I have metal primer, sanding block, and sandpaper. It's too hard to haul an extension cord around. Screwdriver, scraper, chisel, some exterior white wood filler, some rollers, a hammer, a brush, putty knife, which actually comes in really handy. I've got a big scraper, a wire brush and scraper, but this flexible little knife actually is good about getting up under little spots of loose paint. So my goal is to scrape everything loose off down to bare wood if I can, put 2 coats of primer on, and then 2 coats of our fancy exterior paint that Heather got. So, and I've got some galvanized nails if I need to nail anything up, but I have decided not to spend too much time on the joint. Ooh, I got lightheaded when I stood up. I have that thing where you get lightheaded when you stand too fast. And this, well, let me back up. I hate heights, and you see me like being so freaked out on that silly little scaffolding that Heather climbs on because it sways, and this thing sways, but I have a bar around me so I can always be hanging on or leaning against something, and for some reason it makes my mind think everything's okay. But I've got just about 3 or 4 more feet to go until we get down to a piece of new fascia. I'm going to see if I can position this thing. It makes me really nervous when it gets extended. The more extended it gets, the bouncier it gets, but I need to do that area and then move myself back to the beginning and start rolling on the paint. And I've decided, since I'm here, this window looks terrible, and I don't know if I'll do a very good job on it or just a quick scrape and a little primer to tide it over until we do an official paint job. house. So, and I forgot to bring my water up here. So I'm gonna get this finished in that window and then go down and take a break. So while I'm up here, a little primer on how this thing works. So it's got 3 articulations: the basket, up and down, swivel, the boom back there, up and down there. So maybe 4 articulations. But this retractable boom, the farther out it is, the bouncier it gets. And there's barely any wind, and with just me standing up, I've caused it to sway. So anytime I move it, I like to retract that boom in. It stabilizes everything, reposition the angle, and then extend the boom. So that's what I'm going to do. It's got a foot pedal down here that it won't move anything unless you add the pedal in. Here's my hat's making my phone's making a shadow. Here's the boom out, boom in. So I'm going to go boom in. Whoop. I'm just going to do it very slow. And get myself all the way retracted. Again, that's going to help it not be so bouncy and sway and make me feel more stable up here. Once I get retracted, this knob takes that back, that articulation way down there. This one does this boom articulation back there. It also swings it from left to right. So I'm going to go a little bit left, and here comes geometry. So when I go left, I'm swinging in an arc, and my basket will no longer be parallel to the fascia. So I can use this button to swing the basket either side to line myself back up parallel before I extend. So I am not going to do that with the phone in hand talking. I have to pay attention and concentrate. You always have to be aware of your surroundings. One danger point is that you're not paying attention, and say example, you were going up and you were under the eaves, you could get a crushing injury by being caught between the rail and the eaves. So I need to focus and watch what I'm doing. I'm not going up under the eaves, I'm staying well away from that. That part actually scares me a little bit, but I just need to go over there and do that little bit. And as I said, then reposition and start over here and roll that fancy paint on it. And then I may actually, because I'm in this position here, go back in, missed a little corner there, and I go back in and put another coat of paint back there and work on that window some before I move the base of the unit. So the less I move it, the better off I am, and then I'll go back up and work on that other fascia. So let me put you down and move this baby. Alright, it took me a couple of iterations to get it done, and I'm so tired I don't remember if I've showed you this. But anyway, I'm using my big scraper to scrape, and I'm using the primer to hit the nail heads. I'm trying to clean these up as much as possible. Come back, sand a little, fill any nail holes that could catch water or look bad, and then prime and paint. And you can see here when we had the new flashing put on early on, where the fascia was rotted, it was replaced. And I primed it twice on the ground, painted it twice on the ground, so when it's up here it looks pretty good, but I still need to put a coat of our new color on there. And that's Heather calling, I gotta hang up. So I spent about an hour, hour and a half up there scraping, sanding, patching, and painting that length of fascia across the addition. And I had just, remember, delivered all those 2x6s up to those guys so they could continue work on the roof. And when I finished, I went up to see what was going on. They were gone. There was nobody there. They had gone out the bathroom window, gone down the stairs, and left without telling me. So I was a little upset because that meant I had been up on that boom by myself with no one on the property. So I had no idea where they had gone. I found out later that they were afraid of the pitch of the roof and basically walked off the job and wouldn't do the job. So this is why you need a specialty crew and why we had been waiting, because it's very pitched, it's very high. At the peak, I think I calculated, it's almost 75 feet tall. So I don't want somebody up there who's afraid. I talked to Nathan, he was going to try to get them back. I told him no. If they were scared in that part of the roof where if you fell, you would just fall down onto the flat roof and not go anywhere, they certainly weren't going to do the rest of the roof. So we needed to regroup and do something else, but it left me there midday with that lift and nobody to watch me. So I came up with a creative solution. Ooh, okay, this may be the strangest video yet. I'm trying to work in the shade. My sweet neighbors over on the balcony over there are spotting me from their apartment so I can continue working on the boom. And I'm taking a break and literally watching paint dry, because, now don't judge, since I'm trying to work in the shade and have a place for them to see me, I am faux stained glassing this outside window, and it doesn't look great up close. I'm hoping from the ground it looks better. It's hard to do a straight line. This boom bounces all over the place, you can see, so it's kind of hard to control things, and I wished I'd had a few brighter colors for my random panes of glass, but this is what I have to work with here, so that's what we're using. I'm about a fourth of the way down. Hopefully the boom will let me get to the bottom of this and not have a half done window, but I think actually from the yard it's going to look good. So anyway, needs to dry a little bit before I continue on with my diamond pattern. And now I'm super mad at myself because I brought everything I thought that I needed. My specialty caulk, and I even went and got something to cut the tip of the tube off and puncture it with, but I forgot to bring the caulk gun. And this is that crack I need to caulk. And this is kind of a precarious place to get into, so I guess I'll be coming back tomorrow when Heather's here to caulk, but that may be okay because she wants to clear coat all this to protect it, so I'll probably have to do it anyway. This is how I'm eyeballing my diamonds. I'm coming down directly below and putting a dot so I can stay on center and not get too wonky, and that's where the next diamond will cross. So I'm just doing that all the way down, trying to keep it level, although that one doesn't look very level, and plumb. Okay, it's another catch my breath paint drying interlude. Got everything painted blue, but as I look up, that is pretty wonky right there. I'm not sure I can leave that. I'm gonna have to go back up and straighten that out. Oh gosh, my hands are so sweaty I can't do the zoom. But again, from the ground, this is kind of stylized. Inside, we were very realistic in what we painted, but Heather will tell you, as a decorative painter, sometimes when you're doing stuff, you have to greatly exaggerate when it's going to be seen from a distance. So I'm taking her at her word for that, and this is very stylized. I just hope it looks decent from the ground, but it's also very hard to be random. I'm trying to put in some slightly different colored glass here and there, and random is hard. But I'm gonna sit for about 5 minutes and play Wordle and Quirtle and Octurtle. Too winded to talk. I think I'm dehydrated, so I'm having, where'd it go? Gatorade, and then a real Dr. Pepper. I'm going to sit here in the shade. And I think I like the slightly brighter panes rather than that one yucky one up on the far right. So tomorrow, now that I know how to position the boom, I'll go up and quickly do that and then work on that fascia that you can't see on the addition and finish up that area. And then these two should go really quick tomorrow, but I'll have to reposition the boom. I'll have to pull it way out and come in at a different angle. So I want to finish everything that I have to do here. But overall, I'm happy with that. It looks so much better than the junky plywood. Every little bit we do just kind of cleans it up and makes it more appealing, and most importantly preserves that plywood until we get our stained glass windows back. So I'm going to sit here in one of these Adirondack chairs that Alfred made and brought to us and just chill for about 30 minutes, catch my breath. Okay, that is it for this week. I know many of you are going to ask the question, so I'm going to answer it. Am I upset or frustrated at this point with how slow the roofing is going and how many problems that we have had? And the answer is surprisingly not really. I've been a tiny bit frustrated about having that boom available and not having somebody to watch me so I can take advantage of that. But that has very little to do with the roofing itself. In another life, when I worked, I negotiated and administered very complex contracts. And one thing I learned in doing that is when you contract with someone, you need to understand and have respect for their business and their issues. It really is a partnership. This roof is very complicated, and I needed someone who would work with me and solve problems along the way. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of things hit, mostly weather related. So this crew coming, starting the job and leaving is really the first time we've had a problem with a crew. And I don't want somebody up on that roof who is not comfortable and feels safe. And I think the roofing company felt like, as I said, that area was very secure. If someone were to fall, they would just slide down into that flat roof area, and that they could get someone out there and just do that little section and start making some progress while they waited on the very specialized crew that does the very steeped roof. It didn't work. They tried. I'm not upset about that. And you have to put all of this in context, because remember in the last videos we talked about the derecho that hit Houston. You've seen the weather down here, 4, 5, 6 events with gale force winds. There's serious roof damage all over Houston. Roofers are in high demand right now for emergencies where trees have fallen on houses. There's big gaping holes, massive leaks, other work that needs to be done. We have been waiting for years for this roof, and we do have a few very minor leaks that we're worried about, but it's not something that can't sit for another few months and wait. So I appreciate them sending somebody and making an attempt, but it just shows that we really need to wait until we get the right crew up there. I'm very confident that this company is going to do the right thing. And one other reason I'm not real upset about this is that delay that they're having means that I can use that boom lift much more. So I'm getting an awful lot of work done that would be very expensive to do if we paid for it. That boom rental is about $3,000 a month or so. So the roofing company, they want this roof done. They want to get out from under that expense. It's not like they're dragging their feet and being non-responsive. So I'm patient. I can wait till we get the right crew in here. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep using that boom and get as much work as I can possibly get done in this roof. So again, these relationships, you know, they're a relationship, and I need this roofing company to work with me now and in the future, because I don't know what other issues we might have come up. So I can be patient, but now that I know I can use the boom and I can get people here with me to use it more aggressively than kind of the haphazard way I have been with trying to find somebody at the last second, it's going to be great for this house. So we will pick up, not with the roofing next time, but I'm trying to get a midweek roll out there of some other work that Heather comes and does with our door painting downstairs. So check us out on Wednesday, but for this week we are done. We're the League-Kempner House in Galveston. We will see you in our next video.